Here are unbelievable moments where corrupt cops got caught in the very traps they set for others, starting off with how an overambitious cop planted illegal substances on people so he could get promoted to the narcotics department.
As far as motive, the prosecution claims the 28-year-old officer was ambitious and wanted to move to narcotics as quickly as possible. Wester.
In 2018, in Jackson County, Sheriff's deputy launched an investigation into Zachary Wester after he was caught disabling his body camera during traffic stops. The former sheriff's deputy, Zachary Wester, was accused of planting drugs in dozens of cars he pulled over for routine checks, mostly narcotics. The innocent citizens he pulled over mostly denied possession of the substances, but they were usually arrested. This led to widespread underground suspicion, and Wester was suspended.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
First up, we head to Jackson County, Florida, for the trial of Zachary Wester. The former sheriff's deputy was charged with 67 counts of racketeering, fabricating evidence, false imprisonment, and possession of controlled substances. Wester's accused of planting drugs in a dozen vehicles during random traffic stops.
The substance that appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
All of the drivers denied owning the drugs, but yet most were subsequently arrested.
You have the right to remain silent.
The arrest caused suspicion internally, and in 2018, Wester was suspended.
In 2021, he was tried, but he denied all allegations leveled against him. What Wester did not know was that his body cam had given him away. One of the people he'd wrongly accused of having controlled substances, Stephen Van, had just gotten out of prison. Even after going to jail for possession of methamphetamine, Van insisted that his truck was clean and he had no idea how that substance got there. He didn't even resist the search, just like the other drivers Wester pulled over.
3 years later, the case went to trial. He pleaded not guilty to all charges.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put, and we have to put, in law enforcement in a society.
The prosecution relied on the defendant's own body cam footage to help argue their case. Stephen Van, a convicted felon, had recently gotten out of jail when Wester supposedly found methamphetamine in his car.
Have you ever seen this before?
No, what is that?
I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car. You're gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay?
Oh man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything, what you want me to do, man?
Like the other drivers who testified, Van gave the officer permission to search his car because he claims he had nothing to hide.
And I knew my truck was clean. I knew it was.
Another factor that contributed to Wester's downfall was the mysterious disappearance of some of his body cam recordings, which could only mean one thing: that he'd been attempting to conceal his nefarious acts. Little did he know that the prosecution had obtained another body cam footage. In the footage, Officer Webster, like on other occasions, pulled Teresa Odom over and asked to search her car after engaging in small talk with her.
Ironically, body cam footage would become the strongest element in the prosecution's case, especially when it came to Teresa Odom.
Hi, how are you?
In the footage, as Wester made to put his gloves on, there's a small bag in his left hand, which was later identified as meth. He put the item next to a spoon in Odom's car. He then took the item, as if he'd seen it in Miss Odom's car, to her. She claimed that she'd not seen the plastic bag before and that it wasn't hers.
I'm good.
At first, the officer's polite, even playful.
Anything in the vehicle I need to be concerned about? Bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers? Okay.
While Odom stands behind the vehicle, Wester begins his search. Notice as he prepares to put his gloves on, there's a small item in his left hand. Prosecutors argue that Wester is palming a small bag of meth, which he claims to find next to a spoon in the vehicle.
Miss Odom.
It is yogurt, sir.
I know. Okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, though?
That is not mine. No, sir.
Okay. Now, the white small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video, had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in your car?
No, sir.
Despite the footage, Wester denied planting drugs in their cars and that he found them there. After thoroughly examining the case, the jury found him guilty on 19 charges. It didn't end there. 11 out of the 12 drivers he'd wrongfully accused filed a civil lawsuit against him, and he was sentenced to 12.5 years in a state prison.
Wester testified he never planted any drugs.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
And after 5 days and several witnesses, the jury was asked to render a verdict. If Wester's found guilty on all charges, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. After 7 hours, the jury returns with its verdict.
In the state of Florida versus Zachary Wester, we, the jury, find as follows as to the counts charged and the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged.
The clerk went on to read the verdicts on all 67 charges.
Count 7, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
In total, the crooked officer was found guilty on 19 charges.
Count 9, guilty of official misconduct as charged. Count 10, guilty of official misconduct as charged,
including misconduct in the arrests of Van and Teresa Odom. 11 of the 12 drivers filed civil lawsuits against Wester. In July 2021, he was sentenced to 12.5 years in a state prison.
You think that's the height of corruption right there? Well, wait until you hear about this group of officers who perpetrated the most unimaginable vices.
Cop we have to look at is Wayne Jenkins. This cop was so corrupt that an entire TV series is based off him. That is the TV series We Own This City. It's based off Sergeant Wayne Jenkins and his elite police unit called the Gun Trace Task Force. Wayne Jenkins was the head of this Baltimore police task unit. They were supposed to stop crime, but instead they became the most corrupt cops of all time. Their main purpose was to take illegal weapons off the streets, but instead, they stole people's weapons and then sold them to criminals. They also robbed dealers and planted false evidence. In 2018, Sergeant Wayne Jenkins was arrested and pled guilty to robbery, racketeering, and civil rights violations. That last one was for planting illegal substances on 2 men back in 2010. For all of these insane crimes, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Jenkins tried to get a lighter sentence, but the judge said no, calling Wayne Jenkins a narcotics dealer with a police badge. The judge also said he put poison into the community that he should have been protecting. Wayne Jenkins cried in court and said he was so sorry for what he did, but he committed so much crime over 7 years. Wayne Jenkins also apologized to the family of Elbert Davis. This man lost his life in a car chase started by Wayne Jenkins. Wayne Jenkins then planted illegal substances in his car, all so that Wayne Jenkins didn't get in trouble for starting a police chase. The assistant US attorney also said Wayne Jenkins operated his police unit like a gang, often targeting other gangs. That's because they knew the gangs couldn't go to the police.
In March 2017, 8 officers of Baltimore's Gun Trace Task Force were accused of extortion, robbery, faking evidence, and planting drugs, among other crimes. What was supposed to be an elite group of officers soon became the worst set of officers ever.
Cop we have to look at is Wayne Jenkins. This cop was so corrupt that an entire TV series is based off him. That is the TV series We Own This City. It's based off Sergeant Wayne Jenkins and his elite police unit called the Gun Trace Task Force. Wayne Jenkins was the head of this Baltimore police task unit. They were supposed to stop crime, but instead they became the most corrupt cops of all time. Their main purpose was to take illegal weapons off the streets, but instead they stole people's weapons and then sold them to criminals. They also robbed dealers and planted false evidence.
For years, they'd been celebrated for their successes. However, it was later discovered that their many vices had tainted several cases in the city. From cases of false information to planting evidence, they became a handful. In January 2014, a group of officers, including 2 from the Gun Trace Task Force, raided Sean Whitting's home, claiming that he was a suspected drug dealer. They'd gotten a warrant to search his home under pretenses. It was a front to rob him, as they carted away about $20,000 and his children's video games.
But there's a bigger problem. The task force's misconduct has tainted hundreds, if not thousands, of criminal cases. And in a city already infamous for horrible policing, it's shattered any remaining trust between cops and the community. Antonia Hill.
This was just one of the many cases of robbery that these corrupt cops had committed. They fought crimes by day and played the bad guys by night. Two of the officers, Rayam and Herschel, casually discussed stealing cash even as they staged evidence for a legitimate-looking bust. Unfortunately, they'd caused a great deal of damage through their corrupt acts before they were caught. In 2018, 7 members, including Wayne Jenkins, and detectives Rayam, Herschel, Taylor, Hendricks, Gondo, and Allers were federally indicted on racketeering, robbery, drug, and evidence planting charges.
In 2018, Sergeant Wayne Jenkins was arrested and pled guilty to robbery, racketeering, and civil rights violations. That last one was for planting illegal substances on 2 men back in 2010. For all of these,
Jenkins received a 25-year sentence. He tried to get a lighter sentence, but the judge said no, calling him a narcotics dealer with a police badge. When he was sentenced, he apologized to the family of Albert Davis, who had been killed in a car chase led by him. Others served between 7 to 18 years. Baltimore paid over $15 million in settlements.
Jenkins, a narcotics dealer with a police badge. The judge also said he put poison into the community that he should have been protecting. Wayne Jenkins cried in court and said he was so sorry for what he did, but he committed so much crime over 7 years. Wayne Jenkins also apologized to the family of Albert Davis. This man lost his life in a car chase started by Wayne Jenkins. Wayne Jenkins then planted illegal substances in his car, all so that Wayne Jenkins didn't get in trouble for starting a police chase. The assistant US attorney also said Wayne Jenkins operated his police unit like a gang, often targeting other gangs. That's because they knew the gangs couldn't go to the police.
If you think turning off a body cam is bad, wait till you see what happens when one stays on and catches cops robbing a home.
The following shocking footage of constables looting a home was captured by an officer who thought she'd turned her body camera off.
Okay. Put them in my shirt. Hold on. Give me a minute. Hold on. This shit I bought last night. Piss. Nah. Sure would hate to sanitize it. Oakley glasses. Hold on. Give me a second.
On January 26, 2021, a day became unimaginably worse for a family in Smith County, Texas. They were being evicted from their home. However, the shocking thing happened when the constables meant to supervise the eviction started stealing some of the family's belongings. They were stuffing things into their clothes like petty thieves.
It was January 26, 2021, when an already terrible day got even worse for a family in Smith County, Texas. Not only were they being evicted from their home, but it would later be revealed that some of the constables enforcing the eviction were secretly removing items from the residence for themselves.
Hold on. Hold on, don't come down here.
Oh, this one right here?
Yeah. Let me see. Put them in my shirt. Hold on. Hey, Gamble. Hold on. Give me a minute. Hold on.
Oh, we got some cocaine.
Oh.
Yeah, everything in here. So.
This can go in here. You set that box right.
Yeah.
We set that on that dresser.
What's this?
A box. Hold on. Give me a second. You got this bong. What is this? Some gun.
A stinger, maybe. Go for it. Let me see. No, it's a clip.
Well, actually, it's not a clip, if we're going to get technical. It's a magazine, but technicalities seem to be the least of their concerns right now.
To a gun?
Yeah, it's a Ruger.
Okay, this is some more bullets. Yeah, Sheriff's Office, some more money.
Too fat of it.
Hold on a minute.
The officers, or should we say culprits, Curtis Taylor Harris and LaQuenda Banks, were interrupted by the tenant's 17-year-old daughter, who was alone at the house with a friend. The female officer tried to hide their loot in the car when her other colleague almost caught the fact that her body camera had been on the whole time. But guess what? He missed it.
The spree is interrupted by the tenant's 17-year-old daughter, who was alone at the house with a friend when the officers arrived.
Next steps is just kind of move everything out. Is that like, do we need to just step out? Do we need to stay in? What is it we need to do?
They're going to move everything out. But before they leave, the locks will be changed. So get your purse.
Yep. Like, just get all like personal belongings that we're going to need right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Because everything is going to be right here.
Like I said, I'm sorry. She's just 17. I'm just her friend.
No.
Just,
no.
Kind of confused on what was going on.
It's just a procedure.
With that handled for the time being, the constables return to what's really important here, hiding their loot. Where they choose to store it is not only shocking, but incredibly bold, considering how many eyes are on them.
Hey, open your, open. I need to go in the car for a minute.
Sure.
I need to go in your car for a minute.
Yeah, I think it's over.
Let's just put something in there.
What's that?
I got to put something in there.
It's okay.
I'm good.
What you got?
Do you put it in my pocket?
Oh.
I can leave it.
Just sit in the driver's seat. Sit in the driver's seat and take it.
Okay.
It seems like the other constable almost notices that his colleague's body camera is still on. So close. But even after inspecting it, he doesn't catch on that every 5-finger discount is being recorded. Though they don't know it, this miscalculation will eventually come back to bite them.
All right.
The officers even found some cocaine in the house. However, they did not follow constitutional procedures. Instead, they tried to sell the drugs and keep the cash. It wasn't until November 2021 that the accidental filmed body cam footage came back to haunt the officers. The tenants discovered that several items were missing from their home after the eviction and filed a report. The officers were found guilty after reviewing the body camera footage.
It was only in November of 2021 that the accidentally filmed body cam footage came back to haunt the sticky-fingered constables. As it turns out, the resident had discovered that several items were missing from the home shortly after the eviction was carried out, and filed a report in February, according to an affidavit. In addition, it's been reported that accusations led to arrests, though it's unknown exactly when these accusations surfaced. It was in October, according to the affidavit, that everything finally caught up with them. The Smith County DA's office gave Texas Rangers a USB drive that contained some rather incriminating body camera footage associated with the case, and it was all downhill from there. LaQuenda Banks, whose body cam was recording, was approached first. After being read her Miranda rights, she's confronted with the footage she took documenting the theft in progress. She's going to have to do some quick thinking if she plans to deny her guilt.
Your body cam got turned off like old students. You know that, right?
Yes.
You do now. When you thought you had it on and turned it off, they actually turned it on.
Yeah, I know. I saw both lights.
I don't think you know what I'm talking about.
No, like when I thought that you're saying when I thought that it was off, it was on. Hold on, don't come down here.
think you just said take that.
I said take that.
You did. Keep watching.
Thank you. Hold on.
So where did all this stuff go?
The stuff, the only thing that I saw that I wanted for myself was a pair of sunglasses and a little watch. Before we left, I put it back because I knew it was wrong.
Said y'all have returned everything to the homeowner.
They should be back there, but you didn't get any bullets. It wasn't on that paper.
Mm-mm.
I didn't get to check them.
Did she get the AirPods back?
Nobody took any AirPods.
Well,
Huh?
that's what shoved in your shirt with those bullets.
AirPods?
Note that LaQuinta denies taking any AirPods, even as the footage replays her putting an AirPod box into her shirt. This doesn't exactly make for a sturdy defense.
So is this a normal? Y'all just rummage through stuff? And
This was my second one. I mean, since he found dope, that's what we were told he was looking for. I mean, I've never been in one this big.
I don't understand shoving stuff in your shirt.
Oh, no. Not
Is that a normal course of action?
No, not supposed to do it. And that's why I had to.
So when did you put this stuff back?
It was, I don't know how long the video is, but it was shortly before her arrest.
Note that there's no footage of LaQuinta taking anything back into the house before the tenant was arrested. In addition, the footage doesn't appear to skip or show any indication that the camera had been turned off for a while. She would also later claim that she felt forced to participate in the theft by her colleagues and feared she would get fired if she refused to participate. We'll leave the validity of that claim up to you. At least until we reveal what the jury thought. The next constable to be questioned was Derek Holman, the owner of the car used to hide the stolen goods.
Derek, arrested. Really? Linda needs to learn how to use her body cam so I can steal. What did we steal? What did we steal? I'll show you the video. Okay. Sure. That writ of possession? Y'all went in to do that writ of possession? When did that come out? She thought she got it on. Until she started, y'all started rummaging through stuff. She turned it on, actually, instead of off. So you know what I'm talking about. She unslips everything, sticks it in her pocket. She don't understand that, right? Yes, sir. Come over here a minute. Look down at her body. She's going to put it in your vehicle. Instead of her standing at the door, you tell her to go inside. Y'all all work together on it. She concealed it in your vehicle with your permission and with your help. Go ahead and take it. She concealed the stolen stuff. You knew about it. Even when she steals stuff upstairs, she walks down the stairs and we go, you got a little fatter. Touch some stuff she had already put up. It's time for you to go sit down. Still don't have anything. I didn't do. Still didn't do anything. So you letting her store all the stolen stuff in your car. I didn't have anything to do with it. Tell her to go get inside to unload. So now she's storing stolen stuff in your car. Because you tell her to. I never told her to do it.
Derek was likely surprised by the arrest, given that he'd already spoken to investigators several days before.
Okay. Sergeant Holman, like I talked to you earlier, we're looking at and I think on, it looks like January 26th, I believe. Y'all sort of writ of possession. Y'all initially turned it over to Tyler. Yes, sir. Okay. And y'all removed some stuff from the house. Right? Yeah. Which was, we just looked for any knives or firearms. Okay. So there's a few firearms that we found. And I think the constable said that she thinks, and she knew where the list of the stuff that y'all took and later returned to her was. Yeah, see, she's saying like there's $300, there's an iPhone 8, Oakley sunglasses, jewelry, 4 bottles of perfume, iPhone X. I don't believe y'all.
It was a moving truck that she called.
That's
there.
Yeah.
To move.
Yeah. Did you see anybody take any money, an iPhone 8, Oakley sunglasses, jewelry, Chanel perfume, iPhone X, Nike shoes, AirPods?
No, sir.
iPhone 12, MacBook. We know where the money went. That was $3,000. We know where that's at. It's seized.
Yes, sir. Not at all.
This likely struck investigators as questionable, considering that this was Derek's response when he saw LaQuinda come downstairs with a bunch of goods secreted away in her shirt.
You go sit down and rest a little bit?
Yeah, I need to go sit down and rest.
Yeah, go sit down and rest a little bit.
We got a little fat over there.
Yeah.
Trying to find a pocket.
Derek is also the one who checked to see if LaQuinda's body camera was off and failed to notice it wasn't. This, along with the fact that the stolen items were hidden in his car, doesn't make him look too good. However, his unwavering story that he had absolutely no involvement in the incident would fare well for him, as you're about to see. Finally, police approached Smith County Precinct 1 Constable Curtis Traylor Harris, who was the highest-ranking officer suspected to be involved in the theft.
Before we get started, you know you're under arrest, right? Yes. You don't have any gun or anything like that. Let me just...
After reading Curtis's rights, the investigators sit him down to watch the footage from LaQuinda's body cam.
You should take that. Okay.
No, I said this.
You said take that.
Oh, yeah, I said you take everything in there because they had cocaine.
So that's normally how y'all take everything?
Do you see me taking anything?
I was going to say, it looks like one person's on the speaker.
And I don't pay no attention to her. You see me doing my job.
Like LaQuinda, Curtis insists that everything taken from the house was returned and even makes a cursory attempt to locate the missing bullets. But as you can likely predict, they were nowhere to be found. Curtis, LaQuinda, and Derek were all accused of felony theft and official oppression, a misdemeanor. But despite the identical charges, each case was decided differently. After being found guilty, Curtis received the heftiest punishment.
Officer Curtis Traylor Harris, being the highest-ranking officer, was sentenced to 5 years of probation and fined $10,000, while LaQuinta was sentenced to 18 months probation, and the third officer, Derek Holman, was found not guilty.
Was sentenced to 5 years of probation and fined $10,000. If he violates his parole at any time, he will be required to spend 2 years in jail. He's currently appealing the oppression charge, and the case is pending. LaQuinda was also found guilty and placed on probation, although she only received 18 months. The felony theft charge against her was dropped when she pleaded guilty, and, as a result, she was only convicted of the oppression charge, which is a misdemeanor. While on the stand, LaQuinda also stated that she was embarrassed and remorseful to have taken part in the crime. Finally, Derek Holman, whose car was used to transport the stolen goods, was found not guilty on all charges when a jury decided there was reasonable doubt of his involvement. After all, there was no footage of him removing anything from the house personally. Of the 3 constables suspected, he's the only one to avoid criminal charges. However, Curtis, LaQuinda, and Derek have all since resigned from their jobs as constables.
This is not the last case of corrupt cops who built their own trap. We've got another cop, Joseph Miedzianowski, who was a narcotics seller.
Next, we have to look at Joseph Miedzianowski. Joseph Miedzianowski was called Chicago's most corrupt cop of all time. This cop sold many narcotics, and actually worked with various gang members. In 2001, he was finally arrested. This was for selling narcotics, and even giving the names of undercover cops to gang members. He served 22 corrupt years as a cop. He was backstabbing his department the entire time. He was protecting gangs, and even gave police ammunition to gang members. He was sentenced to life in prison. In 2018, he requested his sentence to be reduced, but this was denied by a judge in 2021. The judge said Joseph lived a double life as a cop and gang member at the same time, calling him the most corrupt cop he had ever seen.
In 1979, Joseph Miedzianowski joined the Chicago Police Department as a recruit. However, he soon rose to become Chicago's most corrupt police officer of all time. He was notorious for selling narcotics and working with various gang members.
We have to look at Joseph Miedzianowski. Joseph Miedzianowski was called Chicago's most corrupt cop of all time. This cop sold many narcotics, and actually worked with various gang members. In 2001,
for 22 years, Miedzianowski served in the Chicago Police Department, On paper, he was a decorated cop. In reality, he was running an illegal drug operation while actively working with gang members. He sold narcotics, leaked confidential information, and handed over the names of undercover officers, all while wearing a badge. This wasn't about bribes or turning a blind eye. Meads was knee-deep in the drug trade. He wasn't infiltrating gangs, he was protecting them. He warned them about police raids, he gave them police-issued ammunition, and when officers tried to investigate, he gave up their identities. This man had some nerve.
He was finally arrested. This was for selling narcotics, and even giving the names of undercover cops to gang members. He served 22 corrupt years as a cop. He was backstabbing his department the entire time. He was protecting gangs, and even gave police ammunition to gang members.
He had full access to internal operations and abused it to the max. Imagine that. A sworn officer is feeding the very streets he was paid to clean up. What's worse, he wasn't some rookie gone rogue. He was a veteran with 22 years in the department. He spent 2 decades building a network that blurred lines between the gang world and law enforcement. He operated like a kingpin, just with a badge and a city paycheck. In 2001, everything collapsed. The feds finally caught him. He was arrested and indicted on multiple federal charges, including drug trafficking, racketeering, and obstruction of justice. Court documents revealed how deeply embedded he was in the criminal underworld. His arrest sent shockwaves through the department, but even then, the story didn't end.
Cover, she's under arrest.
Chicago police detective Joe Medjanowski has been stealing drugs and money from the suspects he arrests. Now working with an illegal street gang, he comes up with a scheme to turn drug shit.
In 2018, 17 years after his arrest, Joseph Medjanowski was sentenced to life in federal prison. The court made it clear this wasn't just bad behavior, it was long-term, systemic corruption that endangered officers and civilians alike. Still, in 2021, he tried to get his sentence reduced. He filed for compassionate release, requesting leniency from the court. The response? A flat-out no. The judge reviewed his history, the scale of his crimes, and the damage he'd caused, and gave a statement that said it all. He called Medjanowski the most corrupt cop I have ever met. That wasn't an exaggeration. This was a man who sold drugs, armed gangs, exposed officers to danger, and corrupted the badge for over 2 decades. His goal was never justice, it was control.
He was sentenced to life in prison. In 2018, he requested his sentence to be reduced, but this was denied by a judge in 2021. The judge said Joseph lived a double life as a cop and gang member at the same time, calling him the most corrupt cop he had ever seen.
Today, Medjanowski sits in a federal prison. No more deals, no more protection, no more power, just a legacy defined by betrayal and greed. This wasn't one bad cop, this was a man who built an empire behind the badge and almost got away with it. Like this video if you think stories like this shouldn't stay buried, subscribe for more cases like this, and turn on notifications so you never miss what's behind the blue wall.